This is Doing Life God's Way with Dr. J, where faith is the foundation, life finds its meaning, and love is lived with purpose. Hosted by Sharon Jenkins, author, coach, and founder of 50 Plus and Flirty and 40 Plus and Flirty, empowering men and women to build relationships rooted in faith, wholeness, and truth. In a world full of uncertainty and shifting values, this is your place to be grounded, strengthened, and renewed through the unchanging Word of God. Now, prepare your heart, renew your mind, and align your life with God's divine will.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Doing Life God's Way with Dr. J. My name is Sharon C. Jenkins, and this is the place where we talk about a little bit of everything. But our major focus is on what God says about life. And today we have a wonderful new author, Kamisha Atwood, and she has written this great book of poetry called The Fruitful Tree. And the reason why we wanted to interview her today is she brings a solid biblical perspective to life. Welcome, Kai.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I want our audience to get to know a little bit more about you. So, can you share some things about you? Who is Kai Atwood?
I would say that I am an artist, a creative, but most of all, a child of God. I love the Lord with everything in me. I am originally from Alabama. I moved to Texas in 2022. I'm currently doing marketing and communication. I'm also in the process of getting my doctorate in marketing and communication. And my whole life, I feel like I've always been interested in how things work. And I think that's what drew me to deepening my relationship with the Lord, because I wanted to know how does he show up for us, and how do we get to relate to him as a child? And so I think that's kind of what this whole journey has been about. But that just encompasses who I am. I love to write. I love to color and draw. I love to just be immersed in things creative, because that's how I feel like God speaks to me. And so that's just who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. So, what inspired this book, The Fruitful Tree? Tell us your story.
So this book was inspired by, once again, my love for God and people, but also my love for poetry. Poetry to me is a very niche art form. I think that when people think of poetry, and I know myself, it's always very in-depth, in detail, and it makes you want to know more. What are they trying to say? What do they want us to see in the poetry? And so that's kind of what like inspired this book. Is there's something that God wants us to look at a little bit closer about a fruitful tree. What makes a tree different, a normal tree versus a fruit-bearing tree in the Bible? And so while I was doing this research and just going in depth with the Lord, I noticed that he talks about trees a lot. And I thought it was so interesting that he would open the book with trees. And I was like, now that is important, because when God does something, he's very strategic and he's very purposeful in what he does. And so that just changed my whole perspective about what is it about a tree that needs to be developed to be connected to the vine. How do we as a person, our soul reflect something that is connected to God? And so that's what inspired the book. And like I said, just my love for creating and just poetry. And so that's how the book came about.
So how long did it take you to write the book?
I think it took me almost a year. The process was actually very fast paced. If you know, when it comes to God, when he gives you an assignment, that's not something you can just sleep on. And so every night I would stay up late, I would write poetry, I would change words, I would speak to mentors and stuff, and they would help me kind of clarify what I was trying to say. But overall, it went very fast. I have a total of 32 poems in my book. For a first time author, I thought that was very well. Even though the standard is almost 60, I wanted to keep this book very small, very minimum, but I think it's very meaningful when people read through it. So almost a year.
Okay. And what were your biggest challenges?
One of my biggest challenges, I think, was, I think maybe the discipline. Even though I feel like I have a lot of discipline, it was kind of challenging for me to balance that alongside school and work and other things that I had going on. Because if you know, as an author, it's easy to just write, but sometimes you have to force yourself to get up and do it. And so that's what I think I always have to tell myself. You're planning on releasing something. You need to make this your priority and your focus. And so how do I balance that alongside other things that were happening in my life? So that was a big challenge that I had to overcome.
Okay. Now, what does becoming an author mean to you? There's a lot of people, they think about it, and then they get wrapped up in the romance of being an author, but a lot of people don't take the next step, and that is to literally take your pen or sit at your computer and craft a story. Okay? So what does becoming an author mean to you?
I think becoming an author, I think I had to envision me being an author first. And so I say that because, and I mentioned this to a few people, I was very fearful because I didn't truly know what that meant, what that looks like to put something out there and to say that I want to impact people and their life actually be changed by that. And so I think that's something that I had to give over to the Lord. Lord, can you help me write the story that you want me to tell? Can you help me build the discipline to, stay until the end of the book? And so that's what I think. It took a lot of me envisioning myself. This is who you are. This is not because people told you you could do it, but you have to believe that you are capable of doing the thing. And so that's what I think pushed me. And I'll tell a little bit of a story. Is I went to Arizona for my birthday because I wanted to get outside of my normal space to write a little bit deeper and get outside of what I'm used to. And I remember walking through the airport and I literally heard this, like the Lord show me and tell me, when you leave here and you walk here, you will not come back the same. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, you're not coming back the same. I was like, wow. And so I think I had to be prepared to walk into becoming an author. Like, you have to prepare to become something, because it changes you, it changes the people around you, but it becomes your calling. And so that became my calling, is walking it to becoming an author. And so that I had never experienced. I really have never experienced that. And so to do that alongside God, I feel like that was such a calling, or just a gift that he had placed in my life to become the thing that he had called me to do.
Oh, that's rich. So what is your greatest accomplishment with this book? Because the roadway to becoming an author is full of new experiences and new learning curves. So what is your greatest accomplishment with this book?
I have a few accomplishments, I feel like, with this book. One is just seeing the book finish and letting the book go. And I would even say that was a challenge, letting this book go. Like, to me, this was like my first baby. that I was just gifted with, and I wanted to steward it well. And so I think that was a big accomplishment. I got to see a finished product. I think that makes everybody happy, seeing the finish line. But even at my book releasing, seeing all the people who were connected to me and how God grew my tree during this season, just seeing everybody happy and being blessed by the words, I think that really was a big accomplishment for me.
Oh, wonderful. So, where can people buy this wonderful new book that is transformative?
Fruitful Tree can now be brought on Amazon. All you have to do is type in Fruitful Tree. You can also type in my name, Kamisha Atwood, Fruitful Tree book. It can also be brought on my website, boldfreedomministries.com, where I can also send you a signed copy. And so those are the two places currently it can be brought.
Okay, sounds good. And then, what is one lesson you'd like to give to new aspiring authors?
One of the lessons I think new authors could learn, even from my journey, is God will do the work. And I say that because it is not us doing the thing, it is God using us as a vessel to get his word out there. And so, even if your book is fiction or nonfiction and all these different genres, God still has a space if you allow him to work through you. And so, that my book is a Christian poetry book, but I think that that can help any new author is lean on God, who is able to do far more exceedingly and abundantly than we can ever think or imagine. And so that was my calling. That was my motivation in getting this book done. God is going to help me finish it, and he's going to do the work. So that is my what I can lead to a new author.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So I'm curious, can we hear a poem from your new book? I think it would be a transformative experience.
Okay, the one I pick is okay. This one is called "Is God Really Good?" Because I think a lot of people have this question. And so the title of this one is "God Really Good?" In man's quest for self, he seeks out simple pleasures, half-bitten apples, painted mirrors of dead presidents, lustful temptations, wicked disasters. The heart wonders on these fleeting things, hoping to fill a void. But who is to blame? God? Should the tree not have been offered? Should man not have taken of the forbidden seed? Yet the son of Dawn has prevailed, once adorned in gold, has now fallen in his deceit. Who is it that tests the Lord, and shall he not see the consequences of man's heart on the plains of immortality? Free will, free you will be. Let judgment befall in the end. Above all else, the heart is wicked. Who then questions the man?
Wow, that is powerful. Well, we want to say thank you so much for sharing your poetry with
Thank
us.
you.
Yes, and sharing your journey with us. And one more time, how can people reach out to you?
You can reach out to me at boldfreedomministries.com. And as I said, you can also purchase the book there, and the book can also be purchased on Amazon.
Okay. Well, we want to say again, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. And listening and viewing audience, we want you to know when you do life God's way, he can use you to be a force of reckoning in this earth. And when I say that, I'm talking about a transformative force, a powerful force that will revolutionize your life. Know this, that you too can be a fruitful tree. Next week, we'll be back with a new topic. So get ready. And remember, I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. All right? Tune in again next week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Doing Life God's Way with Dr. J, hosted by Sharon Jenkins. As you go through your day, remember, you don't have to figure life out on your own. God's wisdom is still true, His love is still available, and His way still works. Take what you've heard today, apply it with intention, and trust God with the results. Until next time, keep growing, keep believing, and keep doing life God's way.